Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Flow State. I'm Natasha, and today's lesson is especially close to my heart because we're going to talk about something that many of you have asked me about: English for introverts. If you're someone who feels nervous in social situations, if small talk makes your heart race, or if you'd rather listen than speak, this lesson is designed specifically for you. And I want you to know something right from the start. Being an introvert is not a weakness. It's simply a different way of experiencing the world. Today, I'm going to teach you practical English phrases and strategies that will help you navigate daily situations with confidence without forcing you to change who you are. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's begin this journey together. Before we dive into the phrases, I want to share something important with you. Many introverts think they need to become extroverts to speak English well. That's absolutely not true. Some of the most effective communicators I know are introverts. Why? Because introverts are often excellent listeners. They think before they speak. They choose their words carefully. These are incredible strengths when learning a language. So instead of fighting your introverted nature, we're going to work with it. We're going to build a toolkit of phrases that feel natural and comfortable for you. Let's start with one of the most challenging situations for introverts: greetings and initial contact. When someone approaches you or when you need to start a conversation, having a few reliable phrases can make all the difference. Here's a simple one. Hi, nice to see you. Let's practice that together. Repeat after me. Hi, nice to see you. Good. Now, notice how this phrase is warm but not overly enthusiastic. It's perfect for introverts because it's friendly without requiring you to be overly energetic. Let's try another one. Hello, how's your day going? Repeat after me. Hello, how's your day going? Excellent. This phrase is wonderful because it shows interest without being too invasive. Now, here's a secret that many introverts don't know. You don't always have to initiate long conversations. Sometimes a simple acknowledgement is enough. For example, if you're in an elevator with a colleague, you can simply say, "Good morning." Repeat after me, "Good morning." That's it. You've been polite, you've acknowledged the person, and you haven't put pressure on yourself to create a lengthy conversation. If they want to continue talking, they will. If not, that's perfectly fine too. Let's talk about one of the most dreaded situations for introverts: small talk. I know. Many of you are thinking, Natasha, I hate small talk, and that's okay. But here's the thing. In English-speaking cultures, small talk is often just a way of being polite. It's not about having a deep conversation. It's about showing friendliness. So I'm going to give you some comfortable phrases that you can use, and then I'll teach you how to gracefully exit when you've had enough. Sound good? Let's begin. When someone asks, "How are you?" you don't need to give a long answer. Here are some simple responses. I'm doing well, thanks. Repeat after me. I'm doing well, thanks. Perfect. Or you can say, pretty good. How about you? Let's practice. Pretty good. How about you? Wonderful. These responses are polite, natural, and they don't require you to share too much if you're not comfortable. Here's another one. Not too bad. Thanks for asking. Repeat with me. Not too bad. Thanks for asking. Excellent work. Now, what if someone asks about your weekend or your plans? You might feel pressure to come up with something exciting. But here's the truth. You don't need to impress anyone. Honesty is perfectly fine. You can say, I had a quiet weekend, which was nice. Let's practice. I had a quiet weekend, which was nice. Good. Or try this one. I mostly relaxed at home. Repeat after me. I mostly relaxed at home. Beautiful. These phrases are honest and they don't apologize for enjoying quiet time. Remember, there's nothing wrong with being someone who recharges alone. Here's a really useful phrase for introverts. When someone invites you to an event or suggests doing something, but you're not sure if you want to commit, you can say, let me check my schedule and get back to you. Practice with me. Let me check my schedule and get back to you. Perfect. This phrase is wonderful because it gives you time to think without feeling pressured to answer immediately. You can also say, that sounds interesting. Can I think about it? Let's try it. That sounds interesting. Can I think about it? Excellent. These phrases respect your need for processing time, which is something many introverts need. Now, let's talk about one of my favorite strategies for introverts: using questions to keep conversations going without having to talk too much about yourself. This is perfect for you because it allows you to show interest while staying in your comfort zone. Here are some gentle questions you can ask. What have you been up to lately? Repeat after me. What have you been up to lately? Good. Or you can ask, how did that go? Let's practice. How did that go? Wonderful. These questions are open-ended, which means the other person can talk as much or as little as they want. Here's another great question. What do you think about that? Practice with me. What do you think about that? Excellent. This phrase works in so many situations. If someone mentions a movie, a news story, or anything really, you can use this question to keep the conversation flowing. And here's the beautiful part. While they're answering, you have time to think about what you might say next. No pressure. Let's practice some responses you can use when someone is telling you a story. These are called active listening phrases, and they show that you're engaged without requiring you to say much. Ready? Oh, really? Repeat after me. Oh, really?
Good. That's interesting. Let's try it. That's interesting. Perfect. I see. Practice this one. I see. Excellent. That makes sense. Repeat with me. That makes sense. Wonderful. These short phrases are powerful. They keep the conversation going and show that you're listening attentively. Now, I want to teach you something that will change your English conversations: the art of the graceful exit. As an introvert, you might find that after a certain amount of socializing, you need a break. That's completely normal. But how do you leave a conversation politely? Let me give you some phrases that work beautifully. It was nice talking to you, but I should get going. Let's practice. It was nice talking to you, but I should get going. Good. Notice how this phrase is polite and clear. You're not being rude, you're simply stating that you need to leave. Here's another one. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Repeat after me. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Excellent. This phrase is very polite because it suggests you're being considerate of the other person. You can also say, I need to get back to something, but let's catch up later. Let's try it. I need to get back to something, but let's catch up later. Perfect. The phrase catch up later is friendly and keeps the door open for future conversations without committing to a specific time. Let's move on to another common situation: shopping or ordering food. These scenarios can be stressful for introverts because you're interacting with strangers and there's often time pressure. But I'm going to give you clear, simple phrases that you can use. When you enter a store and an employee asks, "Can I help you find anything?" you have options. If you want to browse alone, you can say, "I'm just looking, thank you." Practice with me. I'm just looking, thank you. Good. This phrase is perfectly polite and signals that you'd like to shop independently. But what if you do need help? You can say, "Yes, I'm looking for," and then name what you need. Let's practice with an example. Yes, I'm looking for a blue sweater. Repeat after me. Yes, I'm looking for a blue sweater. Excellent. Clear and direct. That's all you need. When you're ready to pay, the cashier might make small talk. Remember, you can keep your responses brief. If they say, "Did you find everything okay?" you can simply say, "Yes, thank you." Let's practice. Yes, thank you. Perfect. 2 words. That's all it takes. Now let's practice ordering at a cafe or restaurant. This is another situation where introverts sometimes feel anxious, but with the right phrases, it becomes much easier. When the server approaches, they'll usually say something like, "What can I get for you?" or "Are you ready to order?" Here's your simple response. Yes, I'll have, and then state your order. Let's practice. Yes, I'll have a cappuccino, please. Repeat after me. Yes, I'll have a cappuccino, please. Good. Always remember to add please at the end. It's polite and natural. What if you need a moment to decide? You can say, "Could I have 1 more minute?" Let's try it. Could I have 1 more minute? Excellent. Or you can say, "I'm still deciding." Practice this. I'm still deciding. Perfect. These phrases are polite and they give you the time you need without feeling rushed. When your order arrives, a simple "thank you" is perfect. And when you're finished, if the server asks, "How was everything?" you can say, "It was great, thanks." Repeat with me. It was great, thanks. Wonderful. Let me share something important about phone conversations. Many introverts find phone calls particularly challenging because you can't see the other person's facial expressions or body language. But I'm going to teach you phrases that will make phone calls much more manageable. When you answer the phone, keep it simple. Hello, this is, and then say your name. Let's practice. Hello, this is Sarah. Repeat after me using your own name. Good. When you're calling someone, you can say, "Hi, this is calling about." Let's try an example. "Hi, this is Tom calling about my appointment." Practice the structure. Excellent. Here's a really useful phrase for phone conversations. If you don't understand something or need the person to repeat, you can say, "I'm sorry, could you repeat that?" Let's practice. "I'm sorry, could you repeat that?" Good. Or you can say, "Could you speak a little slower, please?" Repeat after me. "Could you speak a little slower, please?" Perfect. These phrases are polite and practical. Never feel embarrassed to ask someone to repeat or slow down. Clear communication is more important than speed. When you need to end a phone call, use these phrases. "Thanks for your help. I'll let you go now." Practice with me. "Thanks for your help. I'll let you go now." Good. Or you can say, "I appreciate your time. Have a good day." Let's try it. "I appreciate your time. Have a good day." Excellent. These phrases are warm and conclusive. They signal clearly that the conversation is ending. Now, let's talk about a situation that many introverts struggle with: group conversations. When you're in a group, it can feel overwhelming. Everyone is talking, and you might feel like you can't find the right moment to speak. Here's my advice. You don't have to contribute constantly. It's perfectly fine to listen more than you speak. But when you do want to say something, here are some phrases that can help you enter the conversation. "That's a good point." Repeat after me. "That's a good point." This phrase validates what someone else said and naturally leads into your own thought. You can also say, "Can I add something to that?" Let's practice. "Can I add something to that?" Good. This phrase politely signals that you'd like to speak. Another useful one is, "I was just thinking about that." Repeat with me. "I was just thinking about that." Excellent. This shows you've been listening and have something to contribute. Remember, quality over quantity. One thoughtful comment is worth more than 10 rushed ones.
What if you're in a group conversation and someone directly asks you a question? This can feel like a spotlight moment for introverts. But remember, it's okay to take a brief pause before answering. You can say,
That's a good question. Let me think. Repeat after me. That's a good question. Let me think. Perfect. This gives you a moment to gather your thoughts. Or you can say, I'm not sure. What do you think? Let's practice. I'm not sure. What do you think? Excellent. This phrase is honest and it redirects the conversation, taking some pressure off you. Here's something I want you to remember. In English conversations, pauses are natural. You don't need to fill every silence with words. Sometimes, taking a breath and thinking before you speak makes you sound more thoughtful and confident. Native speakers do this all the time, so give yourself permission to pause. It's not awkward, it's normal. Let's talk about workplace situations now. For many introverts, the workplace can be particularly challenging because there are so many social interactions throughout the day. But I'm going to give you phrases that will help you navigate common workplace scenarios with confidence. Let's start with meetings. When you arrive at a meeting, you can simply say, "Good morning, everyone." Repeat after me. "Good morning, everyone." Good. Or if it's later in the day, "Good afternoon." Let's practice. "Good afternoon." Perfect. These simple greetings acknowledge everyone without requiring individual conversations. During meetings, you might want to contribute but feel hesitant. Here's a phrase that works beautifully. "I have a thought about this." Practice with me. "I have a thought about this." Good. This phrase is gentle but clear. It signals that you're about to speak. You can also say, "From my perspective." Let's try it. "From my perspective." Excellent. This phrase introduces your viewpoint in a professional way. Another useful one is, "Building on what was just said." Repeat after me. "Building on what was just said." Wonderful. This connects your comment to the ongoing discussion. What if you disagree with something in a meeting? As an introvert, you might avoid conflict, but there are polite ways to express disagreement. You can say, "I see it a bit differently." Let's practice. "I see it a bit differently." Good. This phrase is respectful but honest. Or you can say, "I have a different perspective on this." Repeat with me. "I have a different perspective on this." Excellent. These phrases allow you to disagree without being confrontational. Now let's talk about something many introverts find exhausting: office small talk. You're at the coffee machine, in the break room, or walking down the hallway, and a colleague wants to chat. You want to be friendly, but you also want to preserve your energy. Here are some balanced phrases. If someone asks, "Busy day?" you can say, "Yeah, pretty busy. How about you?" Let's practice. "Yeah, pretty busy. How about you?" Good. This acknowledges their question and politely returns it, but it doesn't commit you to a long conversation. If you're working on something and a colleague stops by your desk to chat, but you need to focus, you can say, "I'd love to chat, but I'm on a deadline right now." Repeat after me. "I'd love to chat, but I'm on a deadline right now." Perfect. This phrase is polite and clear. It sets a boundary without being rude. You can also say, "Can we catch up later? I really need to finish this." Let's try it. "Can we catch up later? I really need to finish this." Excellent. These phrases protect your time and energy while maintaining good relationships with colleagues. Let's practice some phrases for when you need to ask for help at work. Many introverts hesitate to ask for help because they don't want to bother anyone, but asking for help is normal and professional. Here's how to do it politely. "Do you have a moment? I could use your help with something." Practice with me. "Do you have a moment? I could use your help with something." Good. Notice how this phrase asks if they're available first. That's respectful of their time. You can also say, "When you have time, could you help me understand?" Let's try it. "When you have time, could you help me understand?" Excellent. If someone is explaining something and you need clarification, don't be afraid to ask. You can say, "Just to make sure I understand correctly." Repeat after me. "Just to make sure I understand correctly." Good. Then you can paraphrase what they said. This shows you're engaged and ensures clear communication. Another useful phrase is, "Could you walk me through that one more time?" Let's try it. "Could you walk me through that one more time?" Perfect. These phrases show you're thorough, which is actually a strength. Now I want to teach you phrases for declining invitations politely. This is so important for introverts because you need to protect your energy and alone time, but you also don't want to offend anyone. Here's how to say no gracefully. If someone invites you to lunch or an after-work event and you don't want to go, you can say, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't make it today." Repeat after me. "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't make it today." Good. Notice how you think to them first. That's important. You can also say, "I appreciate the invitation, but I need to take care of some things." Let's practice. "I appreciate the invitation, but I need to take care of some things." Excellent. You don't need to give a detailed explanation. "Take care of some things" is perfectly acceptable. If you want to soften the decline, you can add, "maybe another time." Let's try the full phrase. "I appreciate the invitation, but I need to take care of some things. Maybe another time." Perfect. This keeps the relationship friendly while protecting your boundaries. Here's something really important. You never need to apologize for being an introvert or for needing alone time. But if you want to explain your preference gently, you can say something like, I'm more of a quiet person, so I prefer smaller gatherings. Repeat after me. I'm more of a quiet person, so I prefer smaller gatherings. Good. Or you can say, I recharge better with alone time. Let's practice. I recharge better with alone time. Excellent. These phrases are honest and help others understand you better without apologizing for who you are. Let's move on to social events. Parties, networking events, and social gatherings can be particularly draining for introverts, but sometimes you need or want to attend. I'm going to give you strategies and phrases that will help. When you first arrive at an event, you don't need to work the whole room. It's perfectly fine to talk to just a few people. When you meet someone, here's a simple introduction. Hi, I'm, and state your name. Then you can ask, how do you know the host, or what brings you here? Let's practice both. Hi, I'm Alex. How do you know the host? Repeat after me. Good. These questions are wonderful because they're easy conversation starters that work in almost any social situation. The other person will answer, and then usually they'll ask you the same question back. You can prepare your answer in advance. For example, I work with Sarah, or I'm a friend of the family. Keep it simple. Let's practice. I work with Sarah. Repeat with me. Perfect. During conversations at social events, you can use those active listening phrases we practiced earlier. Oh, really? That's interesting. I see. These keep the conversation flowing without requiring you to do all the talking. And here's a secret. Most people love talking about themselves, so if you ask good questions and listen attentively, you'll be seen as a great conversationalist, even if you don't say that much. Let me give you some questions you can use. What do you do? Repeat after me. What do you do? Good. How did you get into that? Let's practice. How did you get into that? Excellent. What do you like most about it? Practice this one. What do you like most about it? Wonderful. These questions are open-ended and show genuine interest. They also take the pressure off you to talk about yourself. Now, what about when someone asks you questions? You can give brief, honest answers. If someone asks, what do? You can simply state your job or main activity. I'm a teacher, or I work in marketing, or I'm a student. Let's practice with an example. I'm a graphic designer. Repeat after me. I'm a graphic designer. Good. That's all you need. If they want more information, they'll ask follow-up questions. You can then say a bit more. I design logos and websites for small businesses. Let's practice. I design logos and websites for small businesses. Perfect. See how you're building the conversation gradually? You don't need to give your whole life story in the first answer. Let the conversation develop naturally. Here's a phrase for when you need a break at a social event. You can excuse yourself by saying, I'm going to grab a drink, or I'm going to get some air. Let's practice both. I'm going to grab a drink. Good. I'm going to get some air. Excellent. These phrases allow you to step away and recharge for a few minutes. You can also say, excuse me for a moment, if you want to be even more general. Let's try it. Excuse me for a moment. Perfect. When you're ready to leave an event, here are some graceful exit phrases. It was great meeting you. I should head out now. Repeat after me. It was great meeting you. I should head out now. Good. Or you can say, thank you so much for having me. I need to get going. Let's practice. Thank you so much for having me. I need to get going. Excellent. If someone asks why you're leaving, you can simply say, I have an early morning tomorrow, or I have some things to take care of. These are perfectly acceptable reasons that don't require detailed explanations. Now let's talk about something many introverts find exhausting, making friends or building relationships in English. This can feel daunting, especially if you're in a new country or environment. But I want you to know that introverts can build deep, meaningful friendships. You don't need dozens of friends. A few close connections are often more fulfilling. Here's how to build those connections gradually. When you meet someone you'd like to get to know better, you can suggest a low-key activity. Would you like to grab coffee sometime? Repeat after me. Would you like to grab coffee sometime? Good. Or you can say, I'm thinking of checking out that new bookstore. Would you like to join me? Let's practice. I'm thinking of checking out that new bookstore. Would you like to join me? Excellent. Notice how these suggestions are specific and casual. They're not high-pressure situations. Coffee or a bookstore visit is perfect for introverts because there's a clear activity and it's time-limited. You can also say, would you like to go for a walk? Let's try it. Would you like to go for a walk? Perfect. Walking is excellent for introverts because you're side by side rather than face to face, which can feel less intense.
When you're getting to know someone, you can share information about yourself gradually. You don't need to reveal everything at once. Start with surface-level information and go deeper as the friendship develops. For example, if someone asks about your hobbies, you can say, I enjoy reading, or I like photography. Let's practice both. I enjoy reading. Good. I like photography. Excellent. These are simple, honest answers. If the person is interested, they'll ask more questions like, what kind of books, or what do you photograph? Then you can share more details. Here's a phrase that works beautifully for deepening conversations. I'm curious about your thoughts on. Repeat after me. I'm curious about your thoughts on. Good. This phrase invites deeper discussion without being too intense. You can use it with various topics. I'm curious about your thoughts on that book. Or, I'm curious about your thoughts on working remotely. Let's practice one full example. I'm curious about your thoughts on working remotely. Excellent. This type of question often leads to more meaningful conversations, which introverts typically prefer over small talk. Let's talk about expressing your feelings and needs. This is crucial for introverts because you need to communicate your boundaries and preferences clearly. If you're feeling overwhelmed and need alone time, you can say to a friend or family member, I need some quiet time to recharge. Practice with me. I need some quiet time to recharge. Good. This is direct and honest. Most people will understand and respect this. You can also say, I'm feeling a bit peopled out today. Let's try it. I'm feeling a bit peopled out today. This phrase is actually quite common among native speakers, and it perfectly captures that feeling of social exhaustion. If someone is pushing you to be more social than you're comfortable with, you can say, I appreciate your concern, but I'm happy with my current pace. Repeat after me. I appreciate your concern, but I'm happy with my current pace. Excellent. This phrase is assertive but polite. It sets a boundary while acknowledging the other person's intentions. You can also say, this is just how I recharge. It works for me. Let's practice. This is just how I recharge. It works for me. Perfect. You're not apologizing. You're simply stating your needs. Now I want to teach you some phrases for expressing preferences gently. As an introvert, you might have strong preferences about how you spend your time and energy, and it's important to communicate these. If someone suggests a large group activity, but you prefer something smaller, you can say, I'd prefer something more low-key. How about just the two of us? Repeat after me. I'd prefer something more low-key. How about just the two of us? Good. This redirects the suggestion to something more comfortable for you. If you're invited to an event, but you'd rather do something quieter, you can say, that sounds fun, but I'm more in the mood for something relaxed. Let's practice. That sounds fun, but I'm more in the mood for something relaxed. Excellent. Then you can suggest an alternative. Would you be interested in a movie night instead? Let's try it. Would you be interested in a movie night instead? Perfect. By offering an alternative, you're showing that you do want to spend time with the person, just in a different way. Let me share some phrases for when you need to process information before responding. Introverts often need time to think things through. In conversations, if someone asks for your opinion and you need a moment, you can say, that's an interesting question. Let me think about it. Repeat after me. That's an interesting question. Let me think about it. Good. Or you can say, I'd like to give that some thought before I answer. Let's practice. I'd like to give that some thought before I answer. Excellent. These phrases are perfectly professional and thoughtful. They show that you take the question seriously. If someone needs an answer more quickly, you can say, off the top of my head, I'd say. Repeat with me. Off the top of my head, I'd say. Good. This phrase signals that you're giving a preliminary response, and you might have more to add later. It gives you flexibility. Let's talk about handling interruptions. As an introvert, you might find it difficult when people interrupt you while you're speaking. Here's how to politely continue your thought. You can say, if I could just finish my thought. Let's practice. If I could just finish my thought. Good. Or you can say, hold on, let me complete this point. Repeat after me. Hold on, let me complete this point. Excellent. These phrases are assertive without being aggressive. You have the right to finish what you're saying. Now, let's practice some phrases for talking about your feelings. Introverts often feel deeply, but may struggle to express emotions verbally. Having some go-to phrases can help. If you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, you can say, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed right now. Practice with me. I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed right now. Good. This is honest and direct. You can also say, I need a moment to collect my thoughts. Let's try it. I need a moment to collect my thoughts. Excellent. If someone hurt your feelings or crossed a boundary, you can say, I felt uncomfortable when. Repeat after me. I felt uncomfortable when. Good. Then you describe the situation. For example, I felt uncomfortable when you put me on the spot in front of everyone. Let's practice that full sentence. I felt uncomfortable when you put me on the spot in front of everyone. Perfect. Using I felt statements is effective because you're expressing your experience without attacking the other person. Here's another useful phrase. I would appreciate it if. Repeat after me. I would appreciate it if. Good. You can complete this with your request. For example, I would appreciate it if you could give me a heads up before inviting other people to our plans. Repeat the full sentence with me. I would appreciate it if you could give me a heads up before inviting other people to our plans. Excellent. This phrase is polite but clear about your needs. Let's move on to handling criticism or feedback.
As an introvert, you might be particularly sensitive to criticism, especially if it's delivered publicly. Here's how to respond professionally. If someone criticizes your work in a meeting, you can say, "Thank you for the feedback. I'll take that into consideration." Practice with me. "Thank you for the feedback. I'll take that into consideration." Good. This acknowledges their input without getting defensive. If you disagree with the criticism, you can say, "I understand your perspective. Here's what I was thinking." Let's try it. "I understand your perspective. Here's what I was thinking." Excellent. This phrase allows you to present your viewpoint calmly. If criticism feels too harsh or public, you can address it privately later. You might say, "Can we discuss this privately? I'd like to understand your concerns better." Repeat after me. "Can we discuss this privately? I'd like to understand your concerns better." Perfect. This removes you from the public spotlight and allows for a more thoughtful conversation. Now let's talk about celebrating your successes. Introverts often downplay their achievements or feel uncomfortable with praise, but it's important to acknowledge your accomplishments. When someone compliments you, instead of deflecting, try saying, "Thank you, I worked hard on that." Let's practice. "Thank you, I worked hard on that." Good. This accepts the compliment gracefully. You can also say, "I appreciate you noticing." Repeat with me. "I appreciate you noticing." Excellent. If someone asks about an achievement, you can share it without being boastful. "I'm pleased with how it turned out." Let's try it. "I'm pleased with how it turned out." Good. Or you can say, "It was challenging, but I'm proud of the result." Practice this one. "It was challenging, but I'm proud of the result." Perfect. These phrases acknowledge your success while remaining humble. Let me teach you some phrases for networking situations. I know networking can be particularly stressful for introverts, but sometimes it's necessary for career growth. The key is to approach it authentically rather than trying to work the entire room. When you meet someone at a networking event after the initial introduction, you can ask, "What projects are you working on?" Repeat after me. "What projects are you working on?" Good. This is more specific than "What do you do?" and often leads to more interesting conversations. You can also ask, "What brought you to this event?" Let's practice. "What brought you to this event?" Excellent. If you want to exchange contact information, you can say, "I'd love to continue this conversation. Can we exchange emails?" Repeat with me. "I'd love to continue this conversation. Can we exchange emails?" Perfect. This is professional and natural. After exchanging information, you can say, "I'll reach out to you next week." Let's try it. "I'll reach out to you next week." Good. This sets an expectation for follow-up. Here's an important tip for introverts at networking events. Give yourself permission to leave after a set amount of time. Before you go, you might say to someone you connected with, "It was great talking with you. I'm going to head out now, but let's stay in touch." Practice this phrase. "It was great talking with you. I'm going to head out now, but let's stay in touch." Excellent. You've made a connection, and now you can leave without feeling guilty. Let's talk about presentations or public speaking. Many introverts feel anxious about speaking in front of groups, but preparation can make a huge difference. Here are some phrases you can use during presentations to feel more in control. If you need a moment during your presentation, you can say, "Let me take a moment to explain this clearly." Repeat after me. "Let me take a moment to explain this clearly." Good. This gives you a brief pause to collect your thoughts. If someone asks a question you're not sure about, you can say, "That's a great question. Let me think about the best way to answer that." Let's practice. "That's a great question. Let me think about the best way to answer that." Excellent. Or you can say, "I don't have that information right now, but I'll find out and get back to you." Repeat with me. "I don't have that information right now, but I'll find out and get back to you." Perfect. It's better to admit you don't know something than to make up an answer.
At the end of a presentation, you can invite questions by saying, "I'm happy to take any questions." Practice with me. "I'm happy to take any questions." Good. If there are no questions, or if you want to wrap up, you can say, "Thank you all for your time and attention." Let's try it. "Thank you all for your time and attention." Excellent. This is a professional and graceful way to conclude. Now let's discuss email communication. For many introverts, email is actually a comfortable form of communication because it gives you time to think and craft your response, but it's still important to know the right phrases. When starting an email, you can use these greetings. Hi, followed by the person's name for informal emails. Let's practice. Hi, Sarah. Good. For more formal emails, you can write Dear, followed by the person's name. Repeat after me. Dear Mr. Johnson. Excellent. If you're writing to someone you haven't contacted before, you might start with, I hope this email finds you well. Let's practice. I hope this email finds you well. Good. This is a polite opening. For the body of the email, be clear and direct. Introverts often worry about being too brief, but in email communication, clarity is valued. If you're asking for something, you can write, I was wondering if you could help me with. Repeat after me. I was wondering if you could help me with. Excellent. Or you can write, would it be possible to? Let's try it. Would it be possible to? Good. These phrases are polite ways to make requests. When closing an email, you have several options. For professional emails, you can write best regards or kind regards. Practice these. Best regards. Good. Kind regards. Excellent.
For less formal emails, you can simply write thanks or best. Let's try both. Thanks. Good. Best. Perfect. If you need to follow up on an email you sent previously, you can write, I wanted to follow up on my previous email about. Repeat after me. I wanted to follow up on my previous email about. Good. Or you can write, I'm checking in regarding. Let's practice. I'm checking in regarding. Excellent. These phrases are professional and not pushy. Let's talk about handling unexpected social situations. Sometimes, despite your best planning, you find yourself in situations you didn't anticipate. Having some flexible phrases ready can help. If someone asks you to do something on the spot and you need time to think, you can say, let me check on that and get back to you. Practice with me. Let me check on that and get back to you. Good. This buys you time without committing immediately. If you're put on the spot to make a decision, you can say, I'd like to think it over first. Let's try it. I'd like to think it over first. Excellent. There's nothing wrong with taking time to make decisions. In fact, thoughtful decision-making is a strength. If someone is pressuring you for an immediate answer, you can firmly but politely say, I need some time to consider this properly. Repeat after me. I need some time to consider this properly. Perfect. This sets a boundary while remaining respectful. Now let's practice some phrases for dealing with noise or distractions. Introverts often need quiet environments to focus and recharge. If you're in a shared space and need quiet, you can say, would it be possible to keep the noise down a bit? I'm trying to concentrate. Let's practice. Would it be possible to keep the noise down a bit? I'm trying to concentrate. Good. This is direct but polite. If someone is talking to you but you need to focus on your work, you can say, I really need to focus on this right now. Can we talk later? Repeat with me. I really need to focus on this right now. Can we talk later? Excellent. You're not being rude, you're simply protecting your concentration time. If you're in a noisy environment and need to leave, you can say, I'm going to find a quieter spot to work. Let's try it. I'm going to find a quieter spot to work. Perfect. You don't need to explain further or apologize. Let's talk about maintaining relationships as an introvert. One challenge introverts face is that they might not reach out to friends as frequently as extroverts do, which can sometimes be misinterpreted as disinterest. Here are phrases you can use to maintain connections in a way that feels authentic. If you haven't talked to someone in a while, you can reach out with, Hi, I've been thinking about you. How have you been? Practice with me. Hi, I've been thinking about you. How have you been? Good. Or you can write, It's been too long since we caught up. Would you like to get together soon? Let's try it. It's been too long since we caught up. Would you like to get together soon? Excellent. If you want to acknowledge that you've been quiet, you can say, I know I've been a bit out of touch lately. Life has been busy. Repeat after me. I know I've been a bit out of touch lately. Life has been busy. Good. This explains your absence without over-apologizing. Here's something important. You can maintain friendships in ways that suit your introverted nature. You might say to a friend, I'm not great at frequent texting, but I want you to know I value our friendship. Let's practice. I'm not great at frequent texting, but I want you to know I value our friendship. Perfect. This sets realistic expectations while affirming the relationship. You can also suggest the type of contact that works best for you. Would you prefer if we scheduled a monthly call? That way we stay connected, but it's not overwhelming. Repeat this with me. Would you prefer if we scheduled a monthly call? That way we stay connected, but it's not overwhelming. Excellent. Let's discuss handling energy drains. Certain people or situations can be particularly draining for introverts. It's important to recognize this and protect yourself. If someone is very talkative and you're running out of energy, you can interject with, I hate to interrupt, but I need to take a break. Practice with me. I hate to interrupt, but I need to take a break. Good. Or you can say, this has been great, but I'm starting to feel a bit tired. Repeat after me. This has been great, but I'm starting to feel a bit tired. Excellent. If someone wants to extend a social interaction, but you've reached your limit, you can say, I've really enjoyed this, but I'm at my capacity for today. Let's try it. I've really enjoyed this, but I'm at my capacity for today. Perfect. The phrase, at my capacity, is wonderful because it's honest and most people will understand. You're not rejecting the person, you're simply acknowledging your limits. Now let's practice phrases for when you need to assert yourself. Introverts sometimes struggle with assertiveness because they want to avoid conflict, but being assertive is different from being aggressive. Assertiveness is about expressing your needs respectfully. If someone keeps interrupting you, you can say, please let me finish. Practice with me. Please let me finish. Good. Short and direct. If someone is speaking for you or making assumptions about what you think, you can say, actually, I'd like to speak for myself. Let's try it. Actually, I'd like to speak for myself. Excellent. If someone volunteers you for something without asking, you can say, I appreciate that you thought of me, but I would have liked to be consulted first. Repeat after me. I appreciate that you thought of me, but I would have liked to be consulted first.
Perfect. This addresses the issue directly while remaining professional. Let's talk about handling traveling as an introvert. Travel can be exhausting with all the social interactions in new environments. Here are some useful phrases. On an airplane, if the person next to you is very chatty but you need rest, you can say, "It's been nice talking to you, but I think I'm going to rest for a bit." Practice with me. "It's been nice talking to you, but I think I'm going to rest for a bit." Good. Then you can put on headphones or close your eyes. At a hotel, if you need a quiet room, you can request, "Could I have a room away from the elevator and ice machine, please?" Let's try it. "Could I have a room away from the elevator and ice machine, please?" Excellent. This specific request increases your chances of getting a peaceful room. If you're traveling with others but need alone time, you can say, "I'm going to take some time to myself this afternoon. Shall we meet up for dinner?" Repeat with me. "I'm going to take some time to myself this afternoon. Shall we meet up for dinner?" Perfect. This communicates your need while also making plans to reconnect. Let's practice phrases for dealing with overly personal questions. Sometimes people ask questions that feel intrusive. You have the right to decline answering. If someone asks something too personal, you can say, "I'd prefer not to discuss that." Let's practice. "I'd prefer not to discuss that." Good. You don't need to explain why. Or you can say, "That's a bit personal for me." Repeat after me. "That's a bit personal for me." Excellent. If you want to redirect the conversation, you can add, "But I'm happy to talk about," and then mention a topic you're comfortable with. Let's try a full example. "That's a bit personal for me, but I'm happy to talk about the project we're working on." Practice this. Perfect. This maintains the conversation while setting boundaries. Now let's discuss video calls, which have become so common. For introverts, video calls can be particularly draining because you're being watched while also needing to pay attention. Here are some phrases to help. At the start of a video call, you can say, "Can everyone hear me okay?" Practice with me. "Can everyone hear me okay?" Good. This is a standard opening that gives you a moment to settle in. During the call, if you need a moment, you can say, "Let me pull up that information. One moment, please." Let's try it. "Let me pull up that information. One moment, please." Excellent. This gives you a brief break from being on camera while you gather your thoughts. If technical issues arise and you need to turn off your camera, you can say, "I'm having some bandwidth issues. I'm going to turn off my camera, but I'm still here." Repeat after me. "I'm having some bandwidth issues. I'm going to turn off my camera, but I'm still here." Perfect. This maintains your participation while giving you a bit of relief from being visible. Let's talk about maintaining relationships as an introvert. One challenge introverts face is that they might not reach out to friends as frequently as extroverts do, which can sometimes be misinterpreted as disinterest. Here are phrases you can use to maintain connections in a way that feels authentic. If you haven't talked to someone in a while, you can reach out with, "Hi, I've been thinking about you. How have you been?" Practice with me. "Hi, I've been thinking about you. How have you been?" Good. Or you can write, "It's been too long since we caught up. Would you like to get together soon?" Let's try it. "It's been too long since we caught up. Would you like to get together soon?" Excellent. If you want to acknowledge that you've been quiet, you can say, "I know I've been a bit out of touch lately. Life has been busy." Repeat after me. "I know I've been a bit out of touch lately. Life has been busy." Good. This explains your absence without over-apologizing. Here's something important. You can maintain friendships in ways that suit your introverted nature. You might say to a friend, "I'm not great at frequent texting, but I want you to know I value enough friendship." Let's practice. "I'm not great at frequent texting, but I want you to know I value our friendship." Perfect. This sets realistic expectations while affirming the relationship. You can also suggest the type of contact that works best for you. Would you prefer if we scheduled a monthly call? That way we stay connected, but it's not overwhelming. Repeat this with me. Would you prefer if we scheduled a monthly call? That way we stay connected, but it's not overwhelming. Excellent. Let's discuss handling energy drains. Certain people or situations can be particularly draining for introverts. It's important to recognize this and protect yourself. If someone is very talkative and you're running out of energy, you can interject with, "I hate to interrupt, but I need to take a break." Practice with me. "I hate to interrupt, but I need to take a break." Good. Or you can say, "This has been great, but I'm starting to feel a bit tired." Repeat after me. "This has been great, but I'm starting to feel a bit tired." Excellent.
At the end of a video call, you can say, "Thanks, everyone. I'll send a follow-up email with the key points." Let's practice. "Thanks, everyone. I'll send a follow-up email with the key points." Good. This wraps up the call professionally and gives you a chance to process everything afterwards through writing, which many introverts prefer. Let's talk about expressing enthusiasm in a way that feels authentic for introverts. Sometimes introverts worry that they don't seem excited or engaged because they express emotions more quietly than extroverts. But you don't need to be loud to show you care. Here are some phrases that convey genuine interest without requiring you to be overly expressive. "I'm really looking forward to this." Practice with me. "I'm really looking forward to this." Good. The word really adds emphasis without needing to raise your voice. You can also say, This sounds great. Let's try it. This sounds great. Excellent. Or you can say, I'm excited about this opportunity. Repeat after me. I'm excited about this opportunity. Perfect. These phrases are genuine and professional. They show enthusiasm in a measured way that feels more natural for introverts. Remember, quiet excitement is still excitement. You don't need to match anyone else's energy level to be authentic. Now, let's practice phrases for when you need to correct someone politely. If someone gets your name wrong or misstates something about you, you can gently correct them by saying, actually, let's practice. Actually, it's Sarah, not Sandra. Repeat after me. Good. The word actually softens the correction. If someone misunderstands something you said, you can clarify with, what I meant was. Let's try it. What I meant was, excellent. Or you can say, let me clarify that. Practice this. Let me clarify that. Good. These phrases allow you to correct misunderstandings without sounding confrontational. If someone keeps making the same mistake, you can be a bit more direct. I want to make sure we're on the same page. It's important to me that... Repeat after me. I want to make sure we're on the same page. It's important to me that... Perfect. This emphasizes the importance of the correction while remaining respectful. Let's discuss handling compliments about being quiet. Sometimes people comment on how quiet you are, and this can feel uncomfortable or even judgmental. Here's how you can respond confidently. If someone says, you're so quiet, you can simply say, I prefer to listen and think before I speak. Let's practice. I prefer to listen and think before I speak. Good. This reframes your quietness as a thoughtful quality rather than a deficit. You can also say, I speak when I have something meaningful to contribute. Repeat with me. I speak when I have something meaningful to contribute. Excellent. Or try this one, quality over quantity. Let's practice. Quality over quantity. Perfect. This short phrase conveys confidence in your communication style. If someone seems concerned, you can reassure them by saying, I'm comfortable. This is just my natural style. Let's try it. I'm comfortable. This is just my natural style. Good. Now, let's talk about collaboration and teamwork. Introverts often excel at collaboration because they listen well and think deeply. Here are phrases that highlight your contributions. In a team meeting, you might say, I've been thinking about this problem, and here's what I came up with. Practice with me. I've been thinking about this problem, and here's what I came up with. Good. This shows you've done thoughtful work independently. You can also say, I did some research on this. Let's try it. I did some research on this. Excellent. This demonstrates initiative. If you prefer to process information before meetings, you can request, could you send the agenda ahead of time? I like to prepare my thoughts in advance. Repeat after me. Could you send the agenda ahead of time? I like to prepare my thoughts in advance. Perfect. This is a reasonable request that plays to your strengths as an introvert. If you work better independently than in constant collaboration, you can say to your team, I'm most productive when I have focused time to work. Can we schedule specific check-in times? Let's practice. I'm most productive when I have focused time to work. Can we schedule specific check-in times? Good. This communicates your working style clearly and suggests a solution. Let's discuss dealing with last-minute changes or spontaneous plans. Many introverts prefer structure and advance notice. If someone makes a last-minute change that affects you, you can say, I appreciate the heads up. I would have preferred more notice, but I'll do my best to adapt. Practice with me. I appreciate the heads up. I would have preferred more notice, but I'll do my best to adapt. This acknowledges the situation while also expressing your preference. If someone frequently makes spontaneous plans and expects you to join, you can set expectations by saying, I usually need some advance notice to plan my schedule. Can you let me know a few days ahead next time? Let's try it. I usually need some advance notice to plan my schedule. Can you let me know a few days ahead next time? Excellent. This educates the person about your needs. If you simply can't accommodate a last-minute request, you can say, I wish I could, but I can't change my plans on such short notice. Repeat after me. I wish I could, but I can't change my plans on such short notice. Perfect. These phrases help others understand your personality better. Now let's practice phrases for when you need to concentrate in a busy environment. If you're trying to work but people keep approaching you, you can put up a gentle boundary. I'm in the middle of something that requires deep focus. Can I get back to you in an hour? Let's practice. I'm in the middle of something that requires deep focus. Can I get back to you in an hour? Good. This protects your concentration time while being helpful. You can also say, I'm on a tight deadline. Unless it's urgent, could we discuss this later? Repeat with me. I'm on a tight deadline. Unless it's urgent, could we discuss this later? Excellent.
If you need to signal that you don't want to be disturbed, you might say to colleagues, "When I have my headphones on, I'm in deep work mode. Feel free to email me and I'll respond when I take a break." Let's try this one. "When I have my headphones on, I'm in deep work mode. Feel free to email me and I'll respond when I take a break." Perfect. This sets a clear system that people can understand and respect. Let's talk about expressing disagreement in a group setting. Introverts might avoid disagreeing publicly, but sometimes it's necessary. Here's how to do it constructively. You can start with, "I see where you're coming from, but I have some concerns about..." Practice with me. "I see where you're coming from, but I have some concerns about..." Good. This acknowledges the other person's perspective before presenting yours. Or you can say, "I'd like to offer a different perspective." Let's try it. "I'd like to offer a different perspective." Excellent. This phrase is neutral and professional. If you disagree with a decision, you can say, "Before we finalize this, could we consider?" Repeat after me. "Before we finalize this, could we consider?" Perfect. This opens the door for alternative options without being confrontational. Remember, disagreement doesn't have to be aggressive. Thoughtful pushback is valuable. Now let's discuss self-advocacy. As an introvert, you might not naturally promote yourself or your achievements, but in professional settings, it's important to make your contributions known. Here are some phrases that feel authentic. In a meeting where you've done significant work, you can say, "I spent considerable time researching this, and I found..." Let's practice. "I spent considerable time researching this, and I found..." Good. This highlights your effort naturally. If you completed a project successfully, you can mention it by saying, "The project I led last month resulted in..." Repeat after me. "The project I led last month resulted in..." Excellent. You're stating facts, not boasting. In a performance review or when asked about your accomplishments, you can say, "I'm particularly proud of..." Let's try it. "I'm particularly proud of..." Perfect. This allows you to share achievements while staying humble. Let's practice phrases for when you're feeling misunderstood. Sometimes people make assumptions about introverts that aren't true. If someone assumes you don't like people because you're quiet, you can clarify by saying, "I really enjoy people. I just prefer smaller groups and meaningful conversations." Practice with me. "I really enjoy people. I just prefer smaller groups and meaningful conversations." Good. If someone thinks you're unfriendly because you're reserved, you can say, "I know I can seem reserved at first, but once I'm comfortable, I open up more." Let's try it. "I know I can seem reserved at first, but once I'm comfortable, I open up more." Excellent. If someone mistakes your thoughtfulness for indecision, you can explain, "I like to consider all angles before deciding. It helps me make better choices." Repeat after me. "I like to consider all angles before deciding. It helps me make better choices." Perfect. These phrases help others understand your personality better. Let's talk about negotiating your work environment. Many introverts need certain conditions to thrive. If you need a quieter workspace, you can request one by saying, "I'm most productive in a quiet environment. Would it be possible to have a workspace away from high traffic areas?" Let's practice. "I'm most productive in a quiet environment. Would it be possible to have a workspace away from high traffic areas?" Good. If open office plans are draining you, you can say, "I find that I need some quiet focus time each day. Could we designate certain hours as quiet time, or could I work from a private space occasionally?" Repeat with me. "I find that I need some quiet focus time each day. Could we designate certain hours as quiet time, or could I work from a private space occasionally?" Excellent. You're advocating for what you need to do your best work.
If you prefer remote work because it conserves your energy, you can make a case by saying, "I've noticed I'm more productive when working remotely. The reduced commute and fewer interruptions help me focus better. Would it be possible to work from home a few days a week?" Let's practice. "I've noticed I'm more productive when working remotely. The reduced commute and fewer interruptions help me focus better. Would it be possible to work from home a few days a week?" Good. You're presenting it as a productivity benefit, which employers value. Now let's discuss dating and romantic relationships as an introvert. This deserves its own section because it comes with unique challenges. When you're getting to know someone romantically, honesty about your personality is important. Early on, you might say, "I should mention that I'm more introverted. I love spending time with you, but I also need some alone time to recharge." Practice with me. "I should mention that I'm more introverted. I love spending time with you, but I also need some alone time to recharge." Excellent. If your partner wants to go out frequently, but you prefer quieter dates, you can suggest, "How about we have a cozy night in? We could cook together and watch a movie." Let's try it. "How about we have a cozy night in? We could cook together and watch a movie." Good. If they want you to attend lots of social events, you can negotiate by saying, "I'm happy to go to some events with you, but I can't do something every weekend. Can we find a balance?" Repeat after me. "I'm happy to go to some events with you, but I can't do something every weekend. Can we find a balance?" Perfect. In a relationship, you might need to explain your need for quiet time. You can say, "When I'm quiet, it doesn't mean I'm upset with you. Sometimes I just need to recharge. It's not about you." Let's practice. When I'm quiet, it doesn't mean I'm upset with you. Sometimes I just need to recharge. It's not about you. Excellent. This prevents misunderstandings and helps your partner understand your nature. Let's talk about handling family expectations. Families sometimes pressure introverts to be more social or outgoing. If family members criticize your introverted nature, you can respond with, "I know I'm different from others in the family, but this is who I am and I'm comfortable with it." Practice with me. I know I'm different from others in the family, but this is who I am and I'm comfortable with it. Good. If they keep pushing you to attend large family gatherings that drain you, you can set boundaries by saying, "I love spending time with family, but large gatherings are exhausting for me. Can I come for part of the time, or could we plan smaller get-togethers?" Let's try it. I love spending time with family, but large gatherings are exhausting for me. Can I come for part of the time, or could we plan smaller get-togethers? Excellent. You're not rejecting your family. You're proposing alternatives that work better for you. Now let's discuss building confidence as an introverted English speaker. Confidence doesn't mean being the loudest person in the room. It means being comfortable with who you are and expressing yourself authentically. Here are some affirmations you can practice. My quietness is not a weakness. Repeat after me. My quietness is not a weakness. Good. I contribute meaningfully when I speak. Let's try it. I contribute meaningfully when I speak. Excellent. I listen well, and that's valuable. Practice this. I listen well, and that's valuable. Perfect. I don't need to change who I am to be successful. Let's say it together. I don't need to change who I am to be successful. Wonderful. These affirmations help reprogram any negative beliefs you might have about being introverted. Say them to yourself regularly, especially before social situations. Let's practice some phrases for celebrating your introverted strengths. When someone compliments your listening skills, you can say, "Thank you. I believe good listening is important." Practice with me. Thank you. I believe good listening is important. Good. If someone values your thoughtful input, you can respond with, "I appreciate that. I try to think things through carefully." Let's try it. I appreciate that. I try to think things through carefully. Excellent. When your depth of knowledge impresses someone, you can say, "I enjoy diving deep into topics that interest me." Repeat after me. I enjoy diving deep into topics that interest me. Perfect. These responses acknowledge your strengths without false modesty. You're owning what makes you valuable as an introvert. Now let's talk about handling energy crashes. Even with all these strategies, sometimes social interactions will drain your energy. It's important to recognize when you need to recharge and communicate that. If you're at an event and suddenly feel exhausted, you can say to someone you trust, "I'm hitting my social limit. I need to leave soon." Let's practice. I'm hitting my social limit. I need to leave soon. Good. If you're with friends and need a break, you can say, "I'm going to take a quick walk by myself. I'll be back in 15 minutes. Repeat with me. I'm going to take a quick walk by myself. I'll be back in 15 minutes. Excellent. If you've overcommitted and need to cancel plans, be honest. I've overextended myself this week. I need to cancel our plans and recharge. Can we reschedule? Let's try it. I've overextended myself this week. I need to cancel our plans and recharge. Can we reschedule? Perfect. Real friends will understand and support your self-care. Let's discuss preparing for high-stress social situations. Before a big event, party, or important meeting, you can mentally prepare using these strategies. First, visualize the event going well. Imagine yourself using these phrases successfully. Second, prepare some conversation topics in advance. Third, give yourself permission to leave early if needed. And fourth, plan something restorative afterwards, like quiet time at home. When you're at the event, you can use this mental phrase to stay calm. I am enough as I am. Repeat after me. I am enough as I am. Good. I don't need to impress anyone. Let's try it. I don't need to impress anyone. Excellent. I can leave whenever I need to. Practice this. I can leave whenever I need to. Perfect. These internal reminders help you stay grounded and reduce anxiety. Now let's talk about finding your community. As an introvert learning English, it's valuable to connect with others who understand you. You might look for small conversation groups rather than large classes. You can ask, "Do you have small group sessions? I learn better in intimate settings." Let's practice. Do you have small group sessions?
I learn better in intimate settings. Good. You might also look for online communities where you can practice English at your own pace. You can introduce yourself by saying, "Hi, I'm an introverted English learner looking for a supportive community to practice with." Repeat after me. "Hi, I'm an introverted English learner looking for a supportive community to practice with." Excellent. When you find like-minded people, the learning process becomes much more enjoyable. Let me share some final thoughts about embracing your introverted nature while learning English. Your introversion is not something to overcome. It's part of who you are, and it brings unique strengths to your language learning. You probably listen more carefully than extroverts, which helps you notice pronunciation and grammar patterns. You likely think before you speak, which means when you do speak, your words are well chosen and meaningful. You prefer depth over breadth, which means you'll develop deeper vocabulary and more nuanced understanding. The English you speak doesn't need to be loud or constant to be effective. Some of the most powerful communicators are introverts. They speak less, but when they speak, people listen. That can be you. As you continue practicing these phrases and strategies, remember that confidence comes from authenticity, not from pretending to be someone you're not. Be proud of your introverted nature. Use it as a strength in your English learning journey. Before we finish, let me leave you with one more important phrase. When someone tries to pressure you to be more extroverted, you can confidently say, "I'm comfortable with who I am." Let's practice this together one more time. I'm comfortable with who I am. Perfect. Say this to yourself, believe it, because it's true. You've learned so many practical phrases today, from greetings and small talk to setting boundaries and expressing your needs, from handling work situations to navigating social events, from building relationships to advocating for yourself. These phrases are your toolkit. Practice them, make them your own. Adapt them to fit your voice and your situations. The more you use them, the more natural they'll become. Remember, every introvert's journey is unique. What works for one person might not work for another. Take what resonates with you from this lesson and leave what doesn't. Trust yourself. You know what feels authentic and what doesn't. Your English should sound like you, not like someone else. As we close this lesson, I want you to know that I'm proud of you. Learning a language is challenging for anyone, but as an introvert, you face unique obstacles. The fact that you're here, working to improve your English, shows courage and determination. You're not trying to change who you are. You're simply learning to express yourself more confidently in another language. That's beautiful. Keep practicing. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. And always remember that your quiet voice has value. The world needs introverts. The world needs thoughtful listeners. The world needs people who choose their words carefully. The world needs you, exactly as you are. Thank you for joining me today on English Flow State. I hope these phrases and strategies help you feel more confident in your daily English conversations. Remember, you don't need to be the loudest person in the room to be heard. You just need to be authentically you. Keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep being your wonderful introverted self. Until next time, take care and speak with confidence.